Welcome to the Infrascale podcast, the show where local business meets AI automation and advertising. Every week, we flip the mic. One episode is AI in advertising. The next, it's AI in operations and infrastructure. This is no Silicon Valley hype, just real usable insight to help contractors, service pros, and storefront owners scale smarter. This is where local businesses catches up and gets ahead. I'm your co-host, Zechariah Zanders, here with my co-host, Rob Petrie, and I'm excited to get into today's episode.
Excited to be here, Zechariah. Excited to be back with you, I should say.
Yeah, I love doing these shows and, just serving the people watching these shows and seeing the real transformation that they have in their businesses. So, yeah, let's jump right in.
Definitely. Well, today, guys, we're really going to be touching on marketing in general, why local businesses should be doing their own marketing or having a marketing sector to their team, and really all the information you need to take that into your business, do what you want with the information, but we're also going to show you how AI is transforming that part of the business. And Zechariah is really going to be the person who has all the answers to all my questions. So we'll start off simple. So Zechariah, can you tell everybody why local businesses should be doing marketing of some sort and really not just relying on referrals or word of mouth or any of the old school methods that might have worked before all of the competition popped up? Start off simple and go from there.
Yeah. So I've spoken with, way too many business owners to count over the years being in advertising. And especially if they're like a local business, like a common thing is, I do word of mouth. I just get referrals and I'm doing well in my business. Now, if you're purely satisfied with a lifestyle business, a business that provides enough income for you to have the lifestyle that you want, and you have absolutely no desire to scale or grow or have predictability in your income, then, that's okay. It's not for some people just don't want to, invest in marketing if they've historically had enough referrals, right? Because it feeds their lifestyle. But then there are a lot of local business owners, have come across, that we've both come across in our businesses who they want to scale, they want to grow, they want to get out of working in, in the weeds of their business and move to kind of overseeing, managing, and then eventually bring in someone to manage, and they can continue stepping back. And some of them even want to exit their businesses at some point. If a business owner is anywhere in that spectrum, marketing is crucial and key, and having predictable, reliable marketing. That could be email marketing, that could be paid advertising, that's digital. That could be, depending on where you live, it could be billboards, if you're maybe in a more rural area or something like that. And maybe that's effective enough for you to get the inbound lead opportunities that you're looking for. But I think specifically one of the most effective ways, no matter what market you're in, is paid advertising, because everyone's on their phones or laptops or what have you, some kind of a screen, and you can get right in front of the right people. And we've had, for our businesses, we've launched ads, and the next day we've got leads coming in, right? People interested. And that's the power of paid advertising. And so if you're a local business owner and you're looking to scale and you're looking to grow, having some kind of marketing that you're investing in is going to be the way to do it. And in addition to that, when you're only relying on referrals are the easiest type of business to convert. No one, if anyone denies that, I don't know, they've got something else going on that I've never heard of. But sure. Referrals are the easiest business to convert, because you have someone who trusts you. You have someone who, the referrer, you have the referrer, you have the referee, right? The referee trusts the referrer, and the referee can see firsthand, hey, XYZ company got you these results, or, did this install in this way, or whatever the case is. Okay, they did a great job. I can see it firsthand, and I trust this person telling me, especially if they have no equity or whatever in the company. Sure. So I'm going to go for it. So 100% referrals are always amazing. And it's always a goal to have, just a pool of referrals that are just constantly coming in. But not everyone's going to come to you through word of mouth. And so if you want to get to the point of predictability and projections in your business and in your growth and be able to continue growing, or even just have enough systems in place through advertising to where you don't have to, you can just have more control, then definitely, marketing of some sort. I think one of the best methods is paid advertising. Not on its own. You need to have other systems in place as well. Email, SMS marketing, reputation management. There's a lot of things that I think that help tie it together and help your branding overall as a business stay intact and be credible. But paid advertising is like the fuel for the engine.
And that's great that you mentioned that, because I was going to ask you a little side question based off everything that you said. I personally have taken hundreds of calls with business owners. I know you have as well. And there's tons of people who haven't even ventured into the marketing space, or maybe they're on the verge of it. Maybe they've only worked with one person, but because there's so many marketing companies out there today constantly trying to sell to them, there's this fear of who's the right option. Who isn't going to let me down? Oh, I've been burnt in the past, or I've been scammed in the past by this one marketing company. They didn't get me the results I was looking for. You mentioned one thing, paid advertising is the way to go, but it's not the only thing you need. So what are some things people should look for if they are looking to invest into a marketer or an advertising agency that's really going to help their business get from the level they're at now to the next level?
Great question. So I've done advertising, as a freelance. I've done it in our companies. I've done it contracted by massive agencies that work with the likes of Nike and Apple and so forth, and the main thing is discernment. Now, here's how you can have discernment on, an agency that's going to be good and an agency that won't. And this isn't absolute. This isn't bulletproof, right? We could sit all day and talk through like a fireproof checklist, but here's a key thing. Marketing agencies are good with case studies, screenshots. I mean, hey, we have case studies, and so forth. One thing I'd ask for, not everyone has this. So if they don't have this doesn't mean that they're reliable or good, but I would ask, hey, do you have not testimonials, someone standing in front of a camera talking about how much they love your company? That could be your neighbor or your brother or whomever. Do you have client interviews, where I can see a genuine back and forth interaction between you and the customer, you asking non-leading questions, or in other words, questions that don't obviously lead them to a specific answer, and get their genuine response. That's one way to discern. Another way to discern is, hey, can you guys take a specific look at this specific problem I'm having in my business and marketing? How are you going to address it? You'll see the difference between, now granted, sometimes these, especially if you're talking a bigger agency, they might have new salespeople or whatever who the agency might be good, but their salespeople are just new to the game. And, that happens. But in most cases, that's not always the case. Usually you're talking to someone more experienced because they want to book business, right? So give them, hey, I'm having this specific problem in my business. How would you guys uniquely address it? And you'll be able to tell the difference between a templated response like, oh, well, first what we do is, you fill out an onboarding form, and then, you send us all these images or videos, and then we're going to build the campaigns. Like, then you go, okay, look, these guys are copy paste. They're probably just trying to get new business, and they're probably losing it as fast as they're getting it, But then when you get someone or an agency that can take a look at a specific problem and have a very clear solution that you can understand, that means they likely understand your problem first of all. Secondly, they understand how to solve it, and they understand how to solve it well enough to where you can comprehend it, even though you're not the expert, and you can agree and go, that makes sense. Just because something makes sense in advertising doesn't mean it works. I've learned that lesson many times. Sometimes the market just responds very differently than you would imagine. But, you're a business owner, you're intelligent, you're smart, you can discern, right? And so those are the key things, because Rob, you and I have had many people come to us. Oh, the number one thing I've heard from business owners is I've been burned, whether it's paid ads, SEO, whatever. I've been burned by somebody. This guy took my money. I paid them. They didn't do anything. They locked me into all the nightmares, right? We've heard that over and over and over again. And it's oftentimes they didn't know better. They didn't know how to discern the differences, right? They just looked at, they did good numbers. And so I just assumed they were good at what they did. And those may be legitimate results, but sometimes they're outdated, or sometimes they're just kind of the very few out of dozens or hundreds that they actually did well, So
definitely. No, great answer, Zachariah. I'm sure everybody will appreciate that. Next question, I wanted to get into, with AI evolving in the marketing space, I think it's important for business owners to understand how it comes to play, not only in our business, but how it may come into play in their business. So can you explain to me the difference between targeting and how it currently works on these social media platforms, why targeting is a thing, how it's used, and how AI learning is coming into play with these platforms now to better help businesses market to the right people?
Yeah. So something that's been trending, a lot of advertisers who are good at advertising, they've come to understand over the last year and a half, 2 years, it's a lot less about now. Okay, if we're talking social media ads, because there's like Google, Bing, and so forth, it's kind of a little bit different, even though there's some similar crossover to what I'm about to say. But if we're talking Facebook, Instagram ads, TikTok ads, and so forth, right? Those kind of platforms, the impression-based platforms, they have so much. These companies have dozens of billions of dollars of ad spend over years, right, accumulated, that they're training their AI on, and specifically the AI they have inside of your ad accounts, right? And so there's AI already built in there that's designed to be able to go and learn. So you have two options. You can manually choose targeting. So let's say it's like homeowners within this 25-mile radius who have a household who are in the top 25% of households, right? That kind of thing. So there is that, and that's fine. And that works really well for local businesses if you're on a very local market level of advertising. And so it's not always needed, but it does still work well. But let's say you've got HVAC companies or what have you in multiple states, multiple regions, and you're kind of more, you have your local targeting going on for those specific markets. When you have just general brand marketing, brand advertising going on, in that case, I'd recommend you just kind of, I would set the targeting abroad in terms of detailed targeting or demographic targeting. I would just kind of leave it alone and really focus on your messaging your ad copy, what's being said in the videos, or if it's an image ad, if it's an image ad with text, what kind of text is on there, or even in the image, who's shown, the environment, so that it matches with the kind of person you want to draw into your business. Because now these platforms with their inbuilt AI, the AI is so smart, it takes longer for it to figure out who the best audiences are. But in the long terms, oftentimes it ends up getting you lower cost per lead or book call or what have you, because it's going to be able to pick up on signals that we would never know about from telling it who to target, right? Sure. And so that's where it's really important to really focus on your messaging, the messaging on your ads, because it's going to learn, these kind of people click on these ads with this messaging. These kind of people become leads from this messaging and so forth. So let me find more people with similar data points and signals. And what I mean by that is people who like certain pages, they watch certain kinds of reels, they they comment and like on certain kinds of posts. It's picking up on all that and a lot more than that to determine the right people to show your ads to. So it's kind of context based, and it just depends. If you're targeting like a local radius, you can go, I would say test either way. If you're targeting anything that's like multi-regional or national, you can, if you have the budget, test either way, because it is also not perfect yet. You know, some ad accounts like that we run, you know, the detailed targeting, what Facebook calls it, works better than just purely relying on the AI to figure out who to show. And sometimes it's the opposite. And so I think in a few years, that's going to really change. And it's probably going to be the AI's almost always better. Right now, it's kind of in that middle ground. So either way, it's best to test. But if you're targeting at a local level and you don't have like $50 a day or $100 a day at least, then I would do the detailed targeting, you know, where it's like you're mostly targeting demographics. So you're hitting the right people and you're targeting geography. And then you really focus on your messaging from there. So it just depends.
Definitely. Now, I know for a lot of you that might be going 3 levels ahead of what you may already know about marketing, but that's no problem. You know, keep watching the show and we'll keep throwing more at you. You'll learn a lot of the lingo. To simplify it a little bit, you know, we're really just talking about how when we put the ad out there, we're looking for the right people to put the ad in front of. It's almost like if you could take a billboard and force everybody to drive past that billboard who wants to buy your stuff. If you were a lawyer who was serving people in car accidents, and every single person who was in a car accident in the past week was forced to see your billboard on the side of the road, obviously you get a lot of money. So Facebook, Google, Instagram, so Meta is really good at using targeting to put your ad in front of the right eyeballs. And those are just 2 different ways that you can do it right now. So, you know, if you want, read up about it on your own. Today's episode is sponsored by Infrascale, the AI automation partner built for local business owners. Whether you're a contractor, a dentist, a gym owner, or you run a family-owned service company, we help you stop chasing leads and start scaling with smart systems. From follow-ups that are never forgotten to bookings that happen 24/7. We install the kind of automation that used to be reserved for big tech. You can learn more by clicking the link in the description below or visiting infrascale.ai/register. That's infrascale.ai/register. If it sounds like a fit from there, you can book a call with our team and have transformation AI automation solutions plugged into your local business today. So, Zachariah, appreciate you answering those first 2 questions. We got 2 more to go through.
Definitely.
So the next thing I want to touch on is offer creation. Now, this is one of the first things I learned when I started to get into advertising. I think it's really the inception or the beginning of any marketing idea, and really the most important piece to any business, because I see a lot of ads up there where people are just throwing up their service essentially and expecting to compete in a saturated market. And, you know, I always think to myself, really, we're always dealing with it. Saturation really isn't the issue. It's how you position yourself in the market to be able to compete. And it doesn't have to be about price. Really, you can compete based off of your offer and how you get people to want to speak to you. So if you want to break down offer creation, expand a bit on what I said, and walk me through how you look at offer creation, I think that'd be great for our audience.
Great. Yeah, this is a great question. I think this is where every advertising campaign should start. Even if simply like all you do is install HVAC systems or throw up roofs or, you know, build pools, whatever the case is. Conveying value, number one, it starts with what is the most valuable thing that we do and can deliver on that also our customers in the past care about. Or let's say you're a new business owner, you don't quite know that yet. Then it's what is the most valuable thing, not that you think you do, but what is going to drive the most value for your customer? So it's always starting there. And I know that's a little bit obvious. It's not like groundbreaking, revolutionary, but a lot of times in advertising, people get caught up on, it's kind of like they want the car to look nice, but then they forget the engine, the thing
Sure.
that's gonna drive it to the destination while looking nice. I'll take a $1,000 car that actually gets me somewhere over a $300,000 car that can only sit somewhere, right? I'm gonna have a lot more success and get to more destinations with a car that at least runs. And I've seen a lot of ads that are like very bare bones, but it has a very good message and they're still profitable. And so it's starting with, okay, what's going to be the most valuable thing? So let's say, you're doing HVAC and it's summertime and you're fixing AC units. Okay, so the most valuable thing that I can do for our customers is fix their AC units. Boom, identified. Then it's coming up with a simple, memorable message that either strikes at a pain point or seriously conveys a lot of value that your competition can't. So I'm just gonna make something up off the dome. So let's say it's something like never need maybe don't make this claim because I don't know how realistic it is, but like never need another AC fix again. Now that's kind of like, if there's 10 levels, it's probably like level 4. That's not like the most alluring messaging, but I guarantee you a message like that to somebody who's hot, burning up, suffering in their house. I mean, that sounds like the most amazing thing. They never want to deal with this again. These guys are going to do such a great job. I'll never need another one, right? Something simple people can easily remember. So it's like Turner's HVAC, never need a fix again. Like that's going to stick and you're going to win a lot of business if all your competition is doing is we will repair your HVAC, we will install new HVAC. Like they're listing all the things they'll do, right? But they're not really conveying value to solving a problem or fixing a problem or whatever the case is. And then from there, it's coming up with multiple messages like that. And then you test them and you see what sticks. And it doesn't have to be perfect. A lot of people, they'll spend 3 months, figuring out their messaging. It's like, come up with something, an MVP, a minimum viable product, or in this case, I'm gonna make up, I've never heard this, MVM, a minimum viable message,
Sure.
and then come up with multiple of those and test it and just see what gets the most traction. Once you figure out through data, not like your opinion of how you feel of this is going to be a fire message, I'm going to go all in on this one, telling you I've done that a million times. We've spent millions and tens of millions on ads and we've done that. And I'm telling you, it rarely works. It's like going all in on one stock and hoping that you're going to become a billionaire, you got to test it and you got to get data. Once you get data running ads, or you test it to an email list or whatever the case is. But once you get customer or prospective interaction from leads or clicks or customers, past customers or whatever, you find a message that really works, then you go deeper and you just go deeper and deeper in there. In our future episodes, we can get into messaging and all that. It's a broad topic to cover. And that's the start of your offer creation. And that's how you drive value without having to always give out discounts. When you're giving out, I'm not saying you shouldn't give out discounts, but when you're giving out discounts, you're competing on price with your competition, and it's just a race to the bottom. But when you can convey value in a unique way from all your competition, and in the better way than all your competition, then people will pay a more expensive price just because your messaging is better. I've seen it over and over again, and we could give dozens of examples of this just historically from advertising where that's been the case. And those being successful, not needing to, they never became successful by discounting everything. And so it's very key, especially if you want to retain more profit in your business. You got to get better messaging, and you got to get people to believe you more, but you also have to have the integrity to make sure you can actually fulfill on whatever your claims are at the same time. You got to be ethical. You've got to do people right. That's, even if you don't care about morals, just from a strategic standpoint, your reputation is going to determine the longevity that you have in business. So yeah, at a very, brief level, I would say those are the essentials of offer creation, but it could get a lot deeper than that, way deeper than that.
Definitely. Yeah. I 100% agree. We will definitely dive more into offers in later episodes. So if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, turn on the bell notifications so that you can see those next episodes. For us, though, I'd really like to just give 2 quick examples of what offers look like, one at a big macro level and one for a local business. Really your offer is your value proposition, what you can bring that other people can't, and letting everybody know that. I mean, if you know Amazon, they were always speed and convenience. I remember when it was 3-day delivery, now it's next day delivery, so guaranteed delivery in 24 hours. And that's what separates them from the market. You can go on their website, pick out anything, and it could be there as soon as the next day or in 48 hours. And that's really where the market's shifting to now. Over time, they've taken that convenience model and really honed in on it and continued to improve it to keep up with that value so that they could continue to tell you new things and the competition can't even enter the market. And then something I personally went through when we were building the gym, our offer creation was strictly on, speed to success. So, we had our normal memberships, but then we would put out marketing for our challenge, 6-week challenge, put people in a position where we offered them all these extras free of charge. So they paid for their membership, but they got accountability, they got nutrition, they got body scans. And with that, you could also put people in a position where if they lost a certain percentage of their weight, they would get a discount on their membership for the future. So it really drove people to compete and actually lose that weight, kept them happy with the results, which means we're truly providing the value. But when they first saw our message, all they could see is that they were getting all of this extra for 6 weeks of training and that they were going to put themselves in a position to succeed. So those are 2 examples, one of a local business, one of a larger business, in value propositions, offers. And we'll definitely dive into a lot more examples in the future. But we got one more question to walk through, Zachariah, before we wrap up.
Oh, sorry, Rob. Can I say one more thing to what you just said?
Yeah, sure.
And this, like Rob said, we'll go deeper into this. Like, if you can always, one of the best ways to drive value is essentially what Rob just said. Amazon, speed to convenience. His local gym business that he had, speed to success, is tying time into it. And even if you think another example is Domino's, it's fresh hot pizza delivered to your door in 30 minutes or less, guaranteed. Now, somebody in the comments might hate me. I don't think Domino's has the best pizza. I don't think it's terrible, but I don't think it's the best. But it's fresh hot pizza delivered. So I don't even have to leave the house. And that's kind of like Captain Obvious. Of course, I can call someone, but they played on what convenience, in less than 30 minutes to your door. So if you can tie speed in. Now, if you, for example, do decide, let's say you decide you want to have like voice AI infrastructure installed into your business by us at Infrascale, one of the things you could say is, hey, you will never miss a call. Like that could be a part of your marketing message. And that's pretty convincing. I call these guys, I'm going to get a response, even if it's at 2 a.m. That could be so anyways, I just wanted to throw that in. If you want to really level up your USP, connect speed to, I like what Rob said, speed to success. We'll get there faster than anyone else in XYZ area, right? Or however you want to say it. And so, but the more specific you can be with time and speed, the better.
Definitely. And thanks for adding that, Zachariah. I appreciate it.
Oh, for sure.
So to wrap us up here, Zachariah, I really just wanted to ask for your thoughts on the future of marketing, where these business owners should be looking towards, if they are looking to partner with somebody in the future. What are some questions they should be asking about where marketing is shifting and if these companies are actually going to be involved in that? I think that's important for everybody. So give me your thoughts and then we'll wrap up.
Yeah, I think if you're looking for, let's say, like an agency or advertising agency or whatnot, I think the number one thing to look out for, and when I say number one, I'm not saying this is a buzzword. I mean, legitimately, outside of them actually clearly being experienced and knowing what they're doing and being trustworthy is, are they good at creating messaging? Here's why I say that. Take Facebook, for example. Mark Zuckerberg wants to, in the next year and a half, roll out like Facebook being able to create your campaign, your ad campaign. And so that's typically when people think of having someone run ads, they think of someone who's going to create my campaign and manage my campaign. So Facebook's looking to ways, they're looking at building their AI system to make it you click a few buttons and it's created. Now, I'll tell you, it's going to take a while, even after they launch that it's like very good, but nevertheless, that's the future of it. What's going to make the difference between, and at that point, advertising becomes even more accessible to you and your competition in your local market or the multi markets that you're in. What's going to separate people is having good messaging. So if you're going to have someone, it could be us in our team at Infrascale. We do the voice AI and advertising for our clients, or it could be another advertising agency, whoever it is. You need to make sure that they know good copywriting. They're good at, if you do video ads script writing, and just add advertising ideas, right? So that you stand out head and shoulders beyond, like head and shoulders above your competition. Where in a world where anyone who's just getting started, they maybe have never even seen a YouTube video about how to run a Facebook ad, can just have Facebook create the campaign for them. It'll be a lot. There's going to be an increase of low quality marketing, which is going to make it a little bit more challenging for you to get trust in your market. But it's also an opportunity for you to be excellent in your messaging. And so that you clearly stand out against your competition. So I'd say that's kind of the number one thing I'd say to look for outside of the obvious. Are they trustworthy? Do they have experience? Those kind of that checklist of things. Can they identify unique problems in my business and solve them? Like all of that stuff. After all that, it's, are they good at creating winning messaging? And I think over time, AI is just going to become more and more prominent. And I think companies that are resistant to AI, you don't have to be an AI engineer, or anything like that. You just got to be willing to be open, to the shift. I'm not saying accept everything that comes down the pipeline in the world of AI. Not everything's going to be good. Not everything's going to help with human flourishing. I'm sure there's always going to be some way someone's trying to take advantage of people through some sort of means. But in as much as it is beneficial to your business, don't be resistant. Otherwise, you'll be left behind, and you'll be wondering, well, man, what happened? I was just doing well 10 years ago. Now, like these new companies are emerging and they're killing it in my market. And it's too late for me. You don't want to be in that position.
Definitely. Well, as always, great answer, Zachariah. And I think, a few things you touched on are really important for our audience to understand is messaging, whether it be in your script for video ads, whether it be in the copy that you put within your ad, whether it be your headlines. Messaging is super important, especially in your offer, your initial offer. And with the way things are looking, you're right. If you're a business owner that's not even playing around with ChatGPT, trying to learn some answers about your market, learn some answers about how you could be improving, even doing just small things on your own. We're playing with ChatGPT all the time, trying to figure out how to get better, get some answers from a source that pulls everything from the internet and gives it to you right in front of you, as long as you know how to ask it the right question. So with that being said, next week, we will be going through automations, workflows, how AI is coming into that, how you can make that a part of your business to go hand in hand with marketing to get some of the full systems that Zachariah touched on earlier in the podcast. And we look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you for listening to the Infrascale podcast, where AI finally meets the trades, the shops, and the real world. If today's episode gave you something to act on, subscribe, leave a review or a comment down below, and share it with another business owner who's ready to scale without the chaos. This show is powered by Infrascale, helping local businesses win with AI automation. See you in next week's episode.